Myrtle Beach vacations, 2 irons to Israel, a new super hybrid, and some other stuff I can tell you about, but I can't quite show you just yet. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. This is Jim McCleary, most award certified club maker, club fitter. And What's in My Drawers started as a golf talk, because old club makers and club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and I'm no different. And that's what it started out to be, and now it has turned into an international golf discussion. Isn't that the way to say it if you really want to promote it? All right. And that's what it's been. It's been a good discussion among friends, and that's the way we are going to keep going. And as usual, we talk about what's going on in the shop, what we've done, what we're going to go do, and then some topics of discussion. So that being said, the number one thing, and we released a video on it Sunday, I threw one out there because I haven't done one in a while, was the 2-iron. The 2-iron that goes to Israel. Now, the 2-iron, we put a Dynamic Gold S300 in it, and we put the MCC4 Plus, of which I said plus 2 somewhere in there. Anyway, the plus 4 or 4 plus on it, and we spined it, and we did all the things that we would normally do. The thing I really had to do was remove the broken piece of shaft, which I've got plenty of videos on that one. So I didn't put it into that one. Also, I had some technical difficulties, and half of a video just did not record for some reason. So I had to go back and record it. That's the reason why it changed background colors. So that's what that one was. But it was a good build, it went to Israel, and that is now officially the furthest we've sent something, maybe other than Japan, but we'll have to see. But as far as a repair, that's number one. So again, thank you for sending that. All right. Number two is I like to sneak in a little foodie kind of thing. I did a brisket right there, a little bitty brisket, and although not sponsored, if they wanted to be, it'd be great. But Walmart had a good piece of meat, and we ended up using it. And it tasted pretty good. So there's that one. All righty. Last time we did this, we talked about me being at. You saw it. Hopefully, you guys saw it. That I did the broadcast from my balcony at Myrtle Beach with Mrs. McGolf in the background, and Bob and Penny off to the right. They were being a great peanut gallery. So we talked a little bit about that. We were halfway through the vacation, and we're going to finish it off here in just a second or two. Again, guys, if you would like, subscribe, tell your friends. I really want to get that 25,000 before we get PGA shows up, and we'll get to that. Also, we ran out of divot tools. Thank you guys for the support on the divot tools. We've placed another order, and it should be here in no time. So again, thank you for that. So some of the pictures, we're just going to go through some of the pictures in here, and then I've got one video I want to show you just to kind of give you the idea of what we were traveling against. So we go here, and that was just a picture. That might have been, I think that may have been TPC, but we'll see. And I'm just showing you some pictures, and that was a par 3. I just hate, the pictures are just a whole bunch of fairway and stuff, just don't make for good golf pictures. I thought this was how about this one for crossing the water, getting it over there and making it happen. That was a nice one. That was early on in the day, sand protected bunkers. This was the last one, the last clubhouse of the day right there. It almost looks fake, in this picture because it's just so clean and so square. And that one was at I believe that was Polly's Plantation. That's what that was. And here's another. This is important because you had to drive on this to get to this par 3. I'm going to show you some of that here in a second. There's another one. I believe this was a Heritage. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was a Heritage. They make a very, very mean breakfast biscuit, and their lunch is no joke. There it is. This is Tidewater. And that's I just don't, it's a good picture and everything, but I'm just not. It's not as good looking as the other ones. And this was right. This is right off to the side. I was standing on the green taking this kind of picture. There was all kinds of that all over the place. Not too bad. Again, Tidewater, me and Bob having a good time. And then comes Sunday, and then there's me and Dad having a good time. And it's kind of funny when you go through a week's worth of golfing and you golf at these places where the greens are just completely fast, 10 and 12 foot of break in a lot of cases. Everything's just manicured to beat the band, and you go back to your home course. And unless you're on some sort of really nice club, sometimes that's a letdown. And we went and played Crown Hill, and unfortunately for us, it was not a letdown. The greens were just as speedy. They didn't break nearly as much, and my ball striking got way better. I was hitting things way further than I ever thought I would. And that could have been being down near the coastline and then coming back up into the mountain area. That could have been it. Oh, one thing. Let me show you this little bit of traveling between tees. We'll get to this guy right here. And that's us taking off. This is going to a par 3 tee. Now, if you can hear me, this is a dual tee box. Here on the right is a tee box going to that par 3 that I showed you earlier. And we're going by, and there's 3 sets you can see as we're driving by. And they have little bitty stairs that get up into it. Oh, there we go. And up with the crane. So that the funny part was that looked like that was the very end, and it wasn't. That was 2 tee boxes back, and I had like a 101-yard shot. And you go, wow, that's hardly anything. And you get up there and you just take this nice easy swing, and I bet 3 of the 4 of us plunked it in the water. They had the next tee box up, which you didn't see, which was up even further. It was a 67-yard shot to the green. And we had one throw it over, one was on, and one was short. And then what you did is you went through and you finished a couple other holes, and you came back the other way, and you golfed on that one that we saw those guys passing through. So that was pretty cool, right? That was actually very cool in the way that was designed. Neat little layout, I have to admit. All right. So there's that one. We got to throw some congratulations for the guys in Europe, right? The BMW Championship. Billy Horschel fired a -19 to come to beat out Amphi Barnrat and Donaldson. And Cantor. They're all shooting a -18. These guys went low. And we get down to the very back end of it, and we throw a little big thumbs up to Ross McGowan. He shot a +5. He must have started even because he shot a +5 on the last day of the match. So congratulations to them. Now, the things I can talk or can only talk about. We'll go in reverse order. I haven't got a thing back from my Wilson rep, but Wilson came to visit. Okay, and I'm still putting my phone over here. All right, so Wilson came to visit. It's that time of year where the representatives of each golf company come and visit guys like me or the golf shops or whatever, and to show you what's coming. right? Normally October is really the time frame, but this COVID thing's got stuff messed up, so everything's kind of pushing forward. And the with all this new stuff, where most of the release dates are in January, between January and March, depending on, I've had stuff being released in March, February, January, but January is pretty much the most common date. And Wilson came through, and I can tell you about what I saw. I just can't show you what I saw. So what they showed me is a brand new launch pad, and the launch pad in their series, if you guys remember, well, we used quite a bit of them. It's a draw bias driver, fairway wood, hybrid, and iron setup, where the irons are they were very hybridish like, and they got accused being more like the Cleveland stuff, and they really weren't, because they have these massive soles, these absolutely massive soles, basically at the top of the set, and it actually got narrower as it got to the bottom. The pitching wedge, I'll give you, for instance, this would be about the width of the sole for maybe a 4 or 5, and that would be the width of the sole for a pitching wedge or a gap wedge. And it was kind of weird that it did that, but in all reality, it actually worked, and it had a lot of offset, very strong, so the ball would get out there. Very good, very good. Get the ball out there, help you not help you tame the fade, that kind of thing. Well, now what they did is the driver looks really good, right? It looks really good. The guys at Wilson have really stepped up their game in the woods category as far as cosmetic appeal goes, right? And I've said it dozens of times before. They were always really, really, really good at the irons in their iron game, but their woods look like somebody from Romper Room was designing them. And I've told them that straight up. And now they have a new designer ahead of all that R&D design, whatever you want to call it, is John Pergandi. And he has just really brought a good touch to the looks. You go back to the C300, which was his first, touch on the irons in the woods. That's where it started, and it just keeps getting better, 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 better. To now, if you like the way the D9 looks, and the D9 is very, very clean, very, very straightforward, and so is this launch pad. The launch pad is going to be very, very clean. It'll look extraordinarily good in the bag. It won't look like you got this big, gross offsetted club. It's just very draw bias. The irons, on the other hand, will look way different than their predecessor. It'll still have the wide sole, but it'll have more of it'll be a cutout with a straight back, and then more of a bulb on the back, on the bottom. It sounds ugly when I say it, but it's not. It actually is a good looking club, very good looking club. But the big surprise of everything out of this one is it's the D9 forged. It is going to take over for the D7 forged. Now, if any of you guys ever saw the D7 was an extraordinarily popular iron. The guys at My Golf Spy liked them. I don't know about if you ever had a chance, but it was a very good, what we called a player's distance category club. And what does that mean? Well, it's a very strong lofted, very low offset iron. And this thing was longer, so it had a bit of a more forgiving appeal to it. The other part was that it did have a wider sole, and it had the slots on it, right? It had the power slots on it that they're known for. It's to give the face some rebound. And this is no different. What they did on this one, like they did in the previous, is they move the slots closer to the face so they get a little bit more rebound. And this iron looks good. All right, it looks good. It is I hate saying the word clean because it's not overbearing, right? It has changes in depth. It has changes from chrome to like a milled look and that kind of stuff on it. but it's not overbearing that one piece of it just zooms your attention in, right? And that's really what we were looking at. I think if the guys like the D7 forged, they're probably going to really like the D9 forged. All right. One other thing that they had, I don't know if I can show it to you, but I've got a sleeve of them right here, and there they are. And Wilson has come out with, it's called a triad. It's a golf ball that's in between their professional, the staff professional ball, which is what their tour ball, and the Duo Plus, the Duo Plus ball. So the Duo Plus is very, very soft. The staff model, very, very hard. Well, and so this one's in the middle. Now I did some testing with them, and they called it. It had another name on it. I have to look at it. Anyway, it had a name on it, and it had what they called a raw ball, and then a sealed ball, or one that had the coating on it that gives it the sealing versus one that doesn't. And they're still going to have a raw ball with the idea that the paint will be way better as far as spread around and keep it together. Now, there is some really cool stuff about the triad in that the densities inside this three-piece ball are going to be the same, but they're different materials. I'm not sure how to digest that one just right now, but it works. Anyway, I tested it, and I actually took it out with one. My dad was with me, and I hit it, and it hits like a very premium golf ball, right? It doesn't spin out of sight. It flies very, very well, and it does. It plays, in my opinion, it plays very much like what would be the soft tour category balls, like the RXs, the Chrome Softs, the AVXs, and that it plays in that category. So I would expect good things from them. All right, something I can show you. All right, something I can show you, and we've seen across the internet, the Super Hybrid. I can't say it any other way. I don't know why. Super Hybrid. All right, the Super Hybrid. Now, tomorrow is the video on the Super Hybrid. Okay, and I will shorten it down. I don't want to give it all away. However, the thing works. Okay, I'm just going to be straight up with you. This thing works. I've never been. The funny part is the steel fiber, right? The steel fiber that's in here. I'm not much of a fan. However, in this thing, it was working, and I hit some shots that were easily one club longer. All right, now the price in all of this is going to be what holds a lot of people off. But if you struggle with a driver, struggle with a fairway wood, you're more of an irons guy, I would certainly consider this in your bag. Now, if you're right-handed, it goes all the way to 16. You'll have a 16, I believe it's a 16 and 18, a 21, a 23, a 25 maybe, and a 27. It goes 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there for righties. For lefties, we get the 3, 4, and 5. And this was a 4. And I can say with certainty, because I did it, the 21 it's the same as if I compare 21 to 21, right? And I poked this thing. My 21 is normally a 210 to 220 club, somewhere in that neck of the woods, 220 max. And this thing was getting out when I was putting it in play at the golf course. I hit 3 of them no less than 240. And then when I did some testing in here, I carried 230 to 220 to 230, easily a club longer. So whatever's in there is working. And if you watch the video, you'll see what's in it. You'll see all the things that we did, and you'll be able to go from there. Okay. Woo. How about all that? All the stuff that we're going to see. Now, I do have the full face, whatever we call it, the full face wedge coming. We will do that. I also was getting ready to I did a video on wedge shafts, on 2 particular wedge shafts. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more before I release it. And what I was doing was hitting what I would call half, three-quarter swings, and then some knockdowns to see if the shaft really impacts the wedge based on using the same head. So we're going to end up on some of that. All righty. So I took up enough of that time. Whoo-wee. 69 comments. Let's get to the top. Zoop. All righty. There's Dave. Greetings, Mr. and Mrs. McGolf. Hope you're doing well. We are, sir, and thank you. Hope you guys are getting out of all that funk over there. Question. What shafts would you recommend using to start a very small selection of fitting shafts? Okay, that's a good one. Well, Dave, number one, what I would do, these guys right back here, Accra, with you getting into the business, get a hold of Lee. He's actually in England. He's in London, I believe. I'm pretty sure he has a golf shop. Anyway, he's the distributor over there. The reason why I say that is that they're also, because True Temper bought them. So when you get in with Accra, you also get in with True Temper and all their lines of products and steel fiber. So with one fell swoop, you have access to all that stuff, and there you go. So that's where I would go. That unquestionably the best choice. All right. Charles, how was the vacation in the Gulf? It was great. All right. We had weather that was just top notch. First 3 days, you would have never thought we were on the ocean. There was a breeze, mid 80s to mid 70s. I mean, it was just beautiful. Last couple of days, the humidity was setting in. It wasn't real fun on the golf course, but when you got to the beach, it kind of went away. The wives stayed behind and made lots of new friends with all the people at the thing. Oh, and for you, bud, you're like this one and the other Charles that's out there. The CV, I wish I could remember, but the Shangri-La, it was an old CV it decommissioned in the 70s, was having a reunion. They're having a reunion, and I talked to a couple of guys. There was some dude that was 104 years old. I would say the average age was somewhere around mid 80s. So that was pretty cool. Got to talk to him and that stuff. So that was neat. So some good guys. Once you figured out it was a whole bunch of Navy guys, all of a sudden it got real casual. Met some folks from New York. He made custom bicycles. So that was really neat. So it was pretty good. The golf, Bob beat me soundly on at least half of the golf courses that we played on. That was because I had a major meltdown and he caught fire. But the courses were supremely nice. If any of you guys are thinking about Myrtle Beach, I would suggest they have what they call the plantation courses. And the plantation courses, we know that's the Pawleys, St. Paul or Pawleys Plantation, Heritage, Caledonia, those types down in that neck of the woods. They're all very close to one another, and they are all in excellent shape. They're just absolutely. Can't wait to see the ocean view again this week. Yeah, that means you're down there, huh? 41 back. Well, you're getting close, man. You're getting close. Mr. Willard, can't come down tomorrow. Too bad. No. Jim, can I take a quick tour of the back area? I don't see why not. But, Mrs. McGolf's got to okay that one. Matt. There's Matt. Shot a 70 on Saturday while walking 18 with my 9-year-old son. Great times. There you go. I'm having trouble cleaning the Jumbo Max grips. Any tips or suggestions? I think we've talked about this one before. I have the tour towel, right? You seen the tour towel? Let me go get one real quick. Okay. Tour towel. The tour, I recommend, we sell them and everything, and that's grand, but these things are great. All right. These things, they don't have a hook. They don't have any spikes to get caught on. They get caught in a hole. Okay. There's a hole there, and that hangs on a club. And if you look, see that? That's a microfiber that's very aggressive. So what I like to do, even on the winds, which is kind of in the same realm as the Jumbo Max, is I will take about half of this guy and I will put it in scalding hot water, at least as hot as I can stand it. And then I will just, kind of rub them and gently get them in there and then do that. And then let them dry. And they won't come back to original sticky because of the synthetics, but they'll come back pretty close. And that's what I like doing. All right. Duke, shot his lowest score, even par, 72. Well done, sir. Well done. Well done. I think that's fantastic. Dave, what's my percentage of steel graphite do you think, and do you think graphite will overtake steel? It kind of goes in spurts. We haven't really looked at end of year yet because it's not there. I would have to guess that we're somewhere in the 50-50 to almost 60-40 graphite. All right, 60-40 graphite. And can it overtake steel? Yeah. Yes, it can. It may not be 100%. And I say that because the way that graphite is made, there's two ways of making graphite. The way graphite is made, that there's too many options in weights, flexes, profiles that can be had in graphite that you can't get in steel. Now, there will always be a steel feel that certain people have to have. But as I'm finding, the traditional 120 steel stuff is not very much. I normally live in the realm of the 105, 110. So, yeah, it's not, the traditional steel, very, very little. But the other steel, yeah, 95s, 105s, 115s. 115s is not, but 110s, yeah. So that's where we would be. All righty. There we go. Whiskey, man. You sent me a message there, bud, and I got a hold of it. That was pretty cool. Great round. There you go. Charles has got another idea. We're using a little bit of dish soap on a greenie. Now, keep in mind, Charles, that this is a synthetic grip, not a rubber one. But it might work if you just do a very light scrubbing. All right, what do we got here? Seymour P3, okay. Thanks for answering on our silly questions. Sometimes, is it possible to break or crack a shaft when you're adjusting loft and lie? Have you ever done that or not? I can't say that I've broken the shaft, but I can say I've broken a hosel. Fortunately, I'm still down to this many in all the bins I've ever done. But I've broken the hosel. And typically what happens is it's like right at the very end of the shaft. But that's because it's the insertion, and that's typically when you go to bend from the solid to the open, that's where it's going to bust. But now I will say this, that when you're bending putters, that can happen, right? When you're bending putters, and the way they've gotten into it now, where the putter will have a peg sticking out, and the shaft will go over top of that thing, and then you're just bending the peg, and that is way easier. But some still have the shaft that goes into the hosel, and you got to bend the shaft, and the shaft does not bend very well. Okay, it does not bend. You can get a couple of degrees out of it, and you got to kind of work it. You got to kind of move it up and down, and get what you're looking for. You will certainly dent it for certain. Will you break it? But if you give it a little too much oomph, yeah, that's always possible. Joe, what's the worst, a club fitter, bad ferrule work, or shaft bands not lining up around the shaft? What's worse to a club fitter, bad ferrule work, or shaft bands not lining up around the shaft? You watch the video. Personally, for me, it's bad ferrule work. I've been called the ferrule Nazi more than a couple of times, by folks I've trained. And to me, that's just because that's where everybody will go. They'll walk into a shop and they'll start doing that on your ferrules to just see, because that's the quality of work. Lining up shaft bands, that's the second one, only because, sometimes you can get them off, and if you're not paying attention, just you're going, and it looks good from the front, just doesn't look good from the back. But ferrule work would be number one for me. All right, Big Al, looking for the Ryder Cup lads. Go Team Europe. I think it's going to be a lot closer than people are going to allow it to. That most people allow it to think that it's going to be. I think the European team always has the camaraderie. It always has that kind of teamwork that the U.S. and it's been said dozens of times. And although both sides are supremely talented on paper, the U.S. should win this one. However, we'll see. We will see. Let's see. I'm trying to get you down here. There's Mike Pett from Buffalo. I knew that one. The brisket looks great, dude. It was tasty. I got some Miss McGolf, Dad, a couple guys at work. Man, they all liked it, so it worked out good. Just got a Spider X single bin 35-inch. Have been making putts from everywhere. Most comfortable I've ever felt putting. Well, good. Maybe it was the length. If you're a taller fella. Charles, that's Macallan 12, by the way. Making putts is very, very cool. That thing, when I miss just a 6-inch 6-incher for a third putt, it just, or the second putt that's 6 inches and makes it a 3 putt. It's like putting a drill on me and just goes straight to the bone. It just absolutely just kills me. And I know it's my fault, but dang. Texas, Jerry's waiting on the rain. Are you due to? Oh yeah, you have the storm coming, don't you? There's another one coming in with a storm surge. Will you be safe down there, man? Okay, well maybe that little tide might, or that blue dawn, whatever they call it, might work that he's talking about. All right, let's get down here a little further. There you go. Charles saying the dish soap works. Okay. Danny Freeman, I love that you and your dad spend time together like you do. That's great. Yeah, he's a good guy for an old dude. I know he's watching. Because every time we get done, he tells me we do a good job, whether I do or not. And but yeah, he keeps my head screwed on straight, even at this age. I think somebody's laughing over there. I heard him laughing. All right, glad you had a great time. Sally is waiting for you guys to come up here. The wine is ready. Oh, don't tell her that, man. Don't tell her that. That means we'll be scheduling some stuff. All right, Tubbsy, got a serious question. Does anyone else struggle with drink and drugs while trying to be good at golf? I personally struggle if it wasn't for golf, I would be in a bad way. Sorry for being serious. Tubbsy, well, I will tell you this. When I'm on the golf course, I rarely drink. I don't do drugs, so that's not a problem for me at that particular point. And if folks do, hopefully they can keep that under control. But I don't, and mostly because I end up sweating a lot, and it just is uncomfortable for me. I prefer it before or after. I like being relaxing and around afterwards, but not during. So not too bad. Now, it's not to say that I haven't done that. Around here, moonshine and different flavors, and I don't mean the stuff you can buy off the shelf. I mean the homemade stuff. Floats around pretty regular, and I just like being able to drive back to the clubhouse. So, but I'm glad golf is helping you out, bud. Let's keep you on the straight and narrow with the golf. Elevated roadway over the swamp. Yeah, that's basically where they called it the causeway. And it was the causeway because it virtually went from one piece of land to the other. What was in the middle was the, what they call that, in the Tidewater area. Anyway, they grew rice there. And apparently, back when this thing was a whole plantation, it would be from the shore, the seashore, all the way out. It was like a day's ride. And right, they were the one of the source of rice for the country at the time. Okay. Danny shot a 79, missed 2 3-footers for par. I think we all have putting woes, man. I got rid of my original one. I've been using my old Peretti. I have a Peretti that was a belly putter, 400-gram head with a ski pole in it, and I changed it out. I've got a Navy Super Stroke grip, and I've been doing much better. Honestly, is it because of that? Not necessarily. I think what it is, and even in the past has shown that putters without inserts work better for me. I have a significantly different, I won't say better, but different feel when I have a milled putter, a solid metal putter versus the inserted ones. Even though the argument could be made that the other ones are better, for some reason something happens. So there you go. Oh, here we are. We're already talking it. Yeah, he plays all year long, Mrs. McGolf. No, and I'm not playing in the snow, and I'm not playing in 40-degree blowing weather. You got to remember, he's up by the lake. There we go. Terry Livingston. New to the channel, liking the info. Well, Terry, good. Thank you very much for joining us, wherever you might be from. And if you got a question, throw it out there. Do I remember the Browning 440s? Absolutely. I can remember, actually, GolfWorks actually had some of the old heads, and we had those. And then when I moved here, a guy gave me a set to work on, and I worked on and gave them back to him. So, yeah, it was really, really cool. And they weren't, honestly, they're pretty ugly. In my eye, they were pretty ugly. So, but yeah, I've had them in the shop a couple of times. Dave, what can I do for you now? Let's see. If you could only supply and fit one brand of grip, which grip brand would you use and why? Well, it would have to be Golf Pride. And the reason being is Golf Pride has a super duper large selection. They're very, very well known. And, the CP2 wrap is by far, or the CP2, whether it be the Pro or the wrap, is by far and away our number one grip. By far and away. And I show them all, right? We have the Win LTs, which are extraordinarily popular. We have the CP2s. We have the MCC4s. That low profile or low taper has been a real plus. Plus, they also have the Align on there in some of their cases, and now they've kind of joined the times with those collegiate colors. And even if you may not like the colors, the texture is very, very good. Their putter grips are available, and they're one of the few that go that way, right? Super Stroke is probably another one, but their full swing grip selection is very limited, where their putter grip is just extraordinary. But if we're going full circle, we're going the whole thing, I would have to go with Golf Pride because they have the largest selection and most availability, and they're most well known. There's Terry. Wonder what Jim would suggest to replace some old Titleist DCI black irons I bought new in '95. Woohoo! I was wondering how far back those went because if you saw, I did that oversized plus, and I thought it was a little bit older than that. They're getting so old, they're starting to break. Already broke the 6. Oh, dude, that's probably, yeah, they probably rust from the inside. If you like the DCI blacks, trying to think. The DCIs were basically a cast club. It depends on what kind of DCI, but they were a smaller cavity players kind of club. And if you're playing them from 95, so that's 2005, 2015, we're looking at pretty close to 15 years ish, right? Maybe a little bit more. So I would look at something that would be, again, in the player's distance category that you like looking at. It could be the Mizuno 921 Hot Metal Pro, the 921 Forged, the Callaway Apex Pro in a combo set. The Srixon XZ5. Those are all excellent clubs that are in that same kind of category. Chances are you're going to pick up a club because they'll all be stronger. Okay, that's going to be another one. There's Cam. All right, Cam. I've been kind of dying on this. I haven't even looked. I'm dying on this shaft thing you've been going through. The TT Elevate X stiffs are now in. Nice. They're building the irons now. Originally, they said it wouldn't be till October. Well, look at that. Under promise, over deliver. Good for Callaway. I know you're going to like them. I know how you're hitting them. I know you're going to like those. They're very, very, very nice. So that's very, very cool. Hopefully, did you guys make it back yet? We're going to be you have any recommendations for Hickory area? Mrs. McGolf has given me kind of permission to bring my clubs. I don't know. We'll see just yet, but maybe we'll take a look. All righty. And how's that application going, man? You almost there? Good to meet you, sir. Steven, I am using the LP irons and really enjoy them. There you go, launch pads. Though I did switch out the shafts and installed the steel fiber 95s, I haven't looked back. Now I'm curious as to what the new version looks like. The thing is, Steven, what we talked about there is on the launch pads, they did exactly what I don't like. They call it a distance club, and they make the thing longer and they make everything lighter. And that's not necessarily what you want. If the lofts are already strong and they're already a good club, what you need, then length and the weight are just paramount to making good strikes. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, I never use the original shaft. And that's to get the weight in. As soon as you find the middle, those things go, right? They absolutely go. The new LPs are going to look a lot different. And you know how you got that gray on the back? You're not going to see that. It's a different look to be sure, but very clean. I'm really more impressed with the driver than I am the irons. Although I think the irons are very, very nice. I think in improvement, there's a very, very large improvement with the woods versus the irons, although I think the irons are going to play well too. All right, Mr. Terry, they have them MS. Oh, there you go. Charles, very little. Very little. If you go and look at the D4, the D7 forged, it's very minuscule. I mean, just very, 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 very little. This appears the way that this new shape is, it's a different shape, and it's so much better looking than the original. It's gonna. I mean, really, if you get to when they come out, it'll be fun to watch. Because I am on the list, bud. I made my order early. I am on the list. So if I'm not one of the first people to see this, I'm gonna have at them. There's Krister. How are you, sir? From Sweden. I didn't see anything on Instagram this week for you. I like to see some of that. I saw the putting thing that you were doing. That was actually pretty cool. There's Cam again. Yep, I did. I did. Uh-oh, what we got here? Season's over more or less. Got shoulder impingement. My left shoulder is in pain. That's the front shoulder for you. I'm sorry to hear that, man. Really. Hopefully you can get that thing taken care of and get ready for that winter season and when you're hitting in the simulators. Yeah. We did. I mean, come on. Crockett is just an absolute riot. That man's one of a kind, to be sure. Hopefully we see him, or if he really likes those grips. I'm really waiting on that salsa. There we go. Well, if that's all it is, hopefully that's what we'll see. Oop. I get back to the top. I missed all the way to Jeez. Where did it go? Here we go. Cam had a great time. Hopefully Crockett didn't scare them too bad. Shot my personal best round with them as well. Well, there you go, man. See, look at that. Aren't we? We're just you heard it right here. Bob and I are just a great influence on golf scores. Maybe not our own, but on others. Okay, here. Krister's getting all kinds of loving going on. All right. That's probably the right one, CV38. I think so too. There we go. I'm back. I'm not sure what happened there. Stormy Michigan, huh? I didn't see any storms, but okay. Stay under the awning. Lombard, Mr. Jack, how are you, sir? I hope so. I have a whole winter season to get better. Yes. Oh, okay, good. Good. I think we're getting ready because hold on, because that one did you see down there where the guys are in Texas? Uh, that looks like a lot of water coming our way. There he is. Excuse me. Enough of the golf questions, Danny. How was the food? The food was pretty good. We spent, we didn't really get out to the local spots, but we weren't too far from the Barefoot Landing. And one of the first nights we got there, the Barefoot Landing, I'm not even sure what the name of it is. Maybe Mrs. McGolf can figure it out. But the first night we were there, we stopped for wings, and it looks out over a pond that's right next to the highway. And they were good. They were just really, really good. And they serve more food than that, but they're really known for their wings. And of course, there's an alligator and turtles down there, and everybody's enthralled with looking at the alligator and just seeing how big this thing is. And it was a good eat. The River City Cafe, which was a burger joint, a little further deeper into the Barefoot Landing. The Barefoot, it was a burger joint, and it was pretty simple burger joint, and I'll give it an okay. It was nice, and because we ate early, we call it eating with the blue hairs. We get in there just before the rush hour and sit down, and then take our time, and then leave. But I will give it. It was okay. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't outstanding. And there's a lot of places to eat there. And the last one that we went to is Dick's Last Resort. And for any of you guys and gals out there that have never been to a Dick's restaurant, be prepared, because when they say political correctness is out the door, what they mean is polite. They got in there. We got hit with, as soon as we walked in there, we got hit with, or the wives got hit with, what are you doing there with those old guys? And it just goes from there. And it keeps going downhill. And there's all kinds of stories to tell you, but the one that stands out the most, we were all done, and the table that was across from us had 6 folks at it, and they asked for napkins. And he says, "So, you want some napkins, do you?" Well, he came and he had a stack of napkins, paper towels about that thick, and he drop kicked them onto the table. And it was just raining. It was just raining paper towels for a good couple of seconds. So if you're not prepared for it, it's a culture shock. But if you go in there knowing what's coming, it's not so bad. All right, what grit do you use for tip prepping for your belt sander? I use 100 grit, 100. And the reason being is I use 100, Jack, because it's coarse enough to get into the chrome and make the grooves in the steel and still not be so aggressive that it tears up graphite real bad. Yeah, of course, a little bit lighter touch with graphite than steel, but 100 grit. I know some guys that use 120. I don't think it's coarse enough, and 80s is too much, right? But I like the 100. Here's Duke. He uses a little Dawn on his as well. All right. Past my prime. Sounds like a great vacation. Curious why you try for an hour webcast. Is that the choice or YouTube rules? No, we just figured it'd take about an hour. We were watching YouTube. They have an analytics thing, and YouTube looks at the time for people watch, the amount of people that get on there, that kind of stuff. And honestly, 30 minutes would be more than enough. But what's happened here as of late is that we get enough for an hour, and most of the times we run over. And that's okay by me. I don't mind to run over a little bit. I mean, we're talking golf and food and all kinds of other stuff, so why not? But that's just what they do, and that helps. All right. Oh yeah, I was looking to see what you got, and got hooked. The P770s, not the 790s, the 770s. I like the design better than 922 Tour. Okay, that's fair. Also got to test the Sim 2 driver with the Venice Blue Tour Stiff. Next year I'll have a full bag of TaylorMade. I don't know. I thought the blue may not be enough for you, but okay. The Sim 2, a lot of people like that one. The 770 is a nice iron, to be sure. There's a TX version of the Ventus Blue because I can't find it when I Google it. Oh, is there a Tour X version? Probably not. They have what they would probably just have an X Flex, really, if you were looking at something like that. Look at here. Yeah, ask her what she put in her coffee each morning. That'll really tell you what kind of a vacation that we had. 6.0 95 gram shafts, really nice. Well, that's a whole different, a lightweight X-Flex shaft. Huh. Okay. You're all over the map on this one, man. Oh, Cam, forgot to mention I got the Epic Max driver with a smoke 10 shift, and it was day and night difference from the old one. There you go, man. Oh, you got it. That was the one I was really worried about, whether or not that was coming in, because we were talking about October. And yeah, now keep in mind that slider on the back really does work. So if predominantly, right, you're fading, put it more towards the heel, not all the way, just slide it about that far. And if you're doing the other way, it's hooking a little too much, go the other way about an inch. And it'll make a whole bunch of difference, really. Emmanuel, how are you, sir? Learned a lot from watching your videos. Thanks, no problem. Actually did a bore through the other day, came out well. Nice. I have AV2 blue in my irons and was looking to put them in my wedge, but I can't get them. Ideas. I have AV2 blue in my irons. AV2s. AV2s, AV2s, AV2s. I'm trying to figure out what AV2s are, Emmanuel. AV2s. AV2 blues in my irons. Trying to think. Blue. What came in the not the actives, is it? Not the actives in the blue. Let me know more about what the AV2 is, and we can talk more about what's in the wedges. There's Charles throwing a little bit. If you go with the Venice Blue, there you go. AJ Stone Cipher. Any experience here a minute until it comes back. Are you guys seeing this too? Maybe it's in here. For some reason it just decided to quit on me again. Autoflex shafts are probably something that'll never make it here unless somebody specifically orders one. All I know is what I see on TV, and the best stuff I've seen so far on them has been from the TXG guys. And I think it got a lot of popularity because Matt just hit the crud out of it. I mean, the dude hits the crud out of everything he hits, but it was funny to see how his reaction to it. I can only imagine that in any instance, AJ, when tipping a shaft, all right, tipping the shaft does not mean grinding everything off of it and get it. The idea of tipping a shaft is to get it abraded enough that the glue has something, or the epoxy has something to get a hold of. So if it's smooth like the back end of a cell phone, it's not going to want to stick. But if there's a lot of ridges in it, right? If there's a lot of ridges in it, it has something to grab onto. And that's what it's for. So, and that's, as the guys were asking earlier, I use the 100 grit, and when I do graphite, I just lean into it, and my whole idea of when I'm doing this is just barely to remove the paint. And now that would bring up yet another question: do you have to remove all the paint? The answer is no, but you absolutely must have it prepped so that you have an abrasion from one end to the other on it. And that's the must. Krister, my clubs are 5 inch shorter and standard lie. When I left TrackMan, called a club fitter, and he told me that 2 degrees flat would do me good. TrackMan showed dynamic lie. 1 to 2 upright. What does that mean? So I guess the real question, Krister, were you hitting it in the middle of the face? The TrackMan, the dynamic lie at 1 to 2 upright means that you were, but you don't put a lot of load on your club. That's why. Now, if you're pulling everything to your left, I got to think right-handed. If you're thinking of everything to your left, the flatter lie would probably work out pretty good. Two degrees flat is pretty significant. It's more about how you interact with the turf, Krister. They'll say, 2 degrees flat, it opens it up and it goes higher. It all depends on how you interact with the turf. If you find yourself digging the heel in your current set and your standard, that when you go flatter, you're going to catch more turf, and it's going to be a much better interaction, much more transfer of energy to the ball, and you don't get stuck, and it won't hurt your shoulder. So maybe that's where you need. Michael Robinson, what shafts do you recommend for the Launchpad irons? It's going to sound awful when I say this, Michael, but it's whatever fits. Right? If you're going to do something like that, get fit. That way you know the length, the loft, the lie, the flex, the weight, the whole 9 yards. However, what I've said in the past is that they make the clubs too long and too light. If you're in that kind of a category, because they were very, very light shafts, a 70 gram, 80 gram shaft to start, 95 gram is probably a good norm. And that could be a 95 gram in steel, not necessarily in graphite. In the graphite, 70, 80 tends to work a little bit better because of flexing, and it just depends on how you swing it down into it and that kind of stuff. But their stuff was running 40, 50, and sometimes 60 grams, and it's just a little too light. particularly when you're making it a ½ inch longer. It was a 60-gram Venice Blue. Have to ask the course owner that he let me hit his driver. What? One what? Oh, 1 minute. Peanut gallery's all over me. All right. There you go. There, that's right. That's right. That's a heck of a drive, dude. Maybe you need a simulator. Keep you occupied. All right. Dave has the Venice Blue Velocore in his and my Tensai AV Raw. AV, there it is. AV2 Blues. Is that what we're talking about with the other one? That makes more sense. Okay, Emmanuel. If you're still on here and you're listening, the Tensai AV2, if you're into that blue stuff, it depends. I'm more about the weight than I am anything else in the wedges, right? And I would go up at about 10 grams ish, and I would look for another blue if you can. If you cannot, then I would look at. They do have some 95-gram wedge shafts out there. Acra's got some. I'm pretty certain KBS might have a few. Catalyst, the Project X Catalyst, something along that lines. When I was mini touring, I dipped snuff on the course, and it was when I was playing my best golf. I quit dipping too, and still haven't played without it. There you go. Good job. Look at that here. We're giving a lot of support to Tubbsy. That's what we want. That's what we're looking for. Are you having problems getting grips? I cannot find Tour Velvet 360 mid-size. There is a bit of a problem out there, but I think they're starting to catch up. The Golf Pride had the old, our container fell into the ocean stuff going on. I don't know. We'd have to ask. Miss McGolf she's the expert when it comes to getting the grips, because we have a direct line to GolfWorks, and GolfWorks is quite possibly the biggest grip distributor for them. So we'll have to wait and see if she answers. All right, we are getting through here. Where we go? Ping had to close one of their factories in Vietnam, and their custom orders are now taking at least 3 months. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. I thought Ping was mostly in the U.S., but okay. That's not good. 3 months. Well, I got to say, Mizuno's still behind a little bit. They're catching up, but they're not 3 months. That's for sure. Callaway is very, very good depending on what's available. If it's not available, then they can't do anything about it. But if they have the stuff, it's right now. All right. Eric, four-course around me have horrible service with fitting and training service. I've started up a side business with service training fittings. Of course, I'm taking their business, but I'm highly recommended. Well, see, there you go. There you go. If you know you can do something good, then keep doing it. All right. They did make it back. Forgot about the. And you are correct, sir. With knowing Mr. Crockett there, I would have to agree with that assessment. New Nire. Yeah, there's gonna be a handful. The Mizuno stuff and the MP line is gonna be new for them. In the Srixon, it's going to be the new Cobra stuff, not Cobra, the new Cleveland stuff, and in Callaway, it's whatever's going to replace the Maverick, their cast distance club. Nope. Geez, we got a lot going on here. All right. Robin says, there you go. Southern Indiana. Nice. Drop you an email so we can discuss replacing. Okay. Okay. Uh, okay. And Southern Indiana is not too far away. We're about 3 hours from the. I think it's no, we're not three. We're 3.5 hours from Indy. We're actually from the northern end of Indiana. So, yeah, if you get a chance, schedule time, come on over and do a fitting. We'll take care of that problem. Well, there's your answer off the site. Alex Smith. Okay. Is there a rule of thumb when you change the lie of the club and adding extensions to the shaft? No. Rule of thumb for when you change the lie of a golf club when extending shafts. Okay, I guess where you're at. So for every, I'll give it to you like this, Alex. For every half inch of change in the club length, it's a half inch change in the lie angle, or a half a degree change in lie angle. So 1 inch, 1 degree, half inch, half a degree. Okay. And that's where it's going. So the longer you get, the club is going to want to go up. So you have to flatten it out just a tiny bit. There you go. Hopefully that's it. LD, jumbo oversized grips are generally a lot heavier than normal grip. You are correct, sir. What is the best way to change the swing weight back to normal? Well, if you're just putting jumbo or oversized grips on it, the easiest way is to add lead tape. Now, I'm not a fan of that. All right. I'm not a fan of trying just because you put heavy grips on the back. If it's just so grossly light in your opinion, then yes, add some weight, and lead tape is the easiest way. The other way is you disassemble them, put them in tip weights, and put them back. There'll be guys that tell you about cork and putting tungsten down the shaft. That's a messy application and not very precise, in my opinion. And when you've got clubs that cost like they do now, that is an extraordinarily last ditch effort. So those are the two best ways of doing that. Now there is another way, but it's not normal. But you can also go with a slightly heavier shaft too, and that will balance it out a little bit more. Matthew Sessions, what do you say, partner? The Wilson F5 driver wants something I can use the shaft I have. What Wilson has is good upgrade. From one to the other, Matthew, you're looking at the D9. The F5 driver was more of that players want to get on the tour kind of stuff, and the D9 is the closest that they have in Wilson. All right. The new launch pad coming out is very, very much draw bias, which is totally opposite of the Wilson F5. So the D9, that's where I would go with that one. Cam's got a question. Last one. What part of my game in our round would you say is the focus? If you can remember, love the constructive criticism. Well, dude, I will tell you what I thought was the sharpest, and it was your short game. Man, the chipping on, that was just out of sight. That was just friggin' awesome, to be sure. You're now with the driver, because you weren't using one that you're fitted to, the driver was a little bit off. But I think when we talked about actually swinging through and actually allowing you to get it, you were actually hitting it better. If you're doing that with the driver, then then you're good there. So when these other new irons come out, what I would suggest is going to the range and finding your distances. Right? What you were struggling with was your approach on distances, not necessarily the quality of your hit, but knowing how far each one of those things went, and then trusting it. I think that's probably the biggest thing. There's Leon. What do you say, sir, from Minnesota? And very good. Very good. Hopefully everything's going good on the farm. All right, here we go. Oh, the trip was great, dude. Trip was awesome. I'd like to do it. I had such a good time. I'm so tired today. I don't know what to do. Was her coffee creamer Bailey's? Duke, it was just a tiny bit stronger than that. Tiny bit stronger. Yeah. I was making sure. I was waiting to see if Robin wanted to do that. All right, Emmanuel. So if you're talking about say pitching wedge, gap wedge, that kind of thing, I would just use the same AV2 blues. If you're talking about sand wedges and lob wedges and that kind of thing, I would look at Mitsubishi and see if they offer a wedge shaft in graphite, and I would just get that. You really don't need all that flex and all that stuff with wedges, because wedges should be not full swing. The gap wedge is the shortest full swing. The rest of them need to be a little bit more stiff so that you can control them, and that's where I would go with it. But and knowing now that I figured out what AV2 was all about, something in that 95 gram category or the 105 gram category would work. If you don't mind not using graphite, I would suggest the Nippon Modus 105 is another really, really good one. But if you're staying in graphite, again, I'm still there with Catalyst or Acra. Look at that. She saw it. Very good. Freezing a little there. Yeah, I know, right? All of a sudden, I don't know why that is. Here we go. There's Russell. Aloha, sir. Liquor of choice. Well, what we had today was Macallan 12. And that's what I took a Glenfiddich with me to the beach. Although they did have some pretty good margaritas there, I will have to say, but that was the choice. All right, couple more, and we got to go. Sonny V just got back from golf trip to East Coast. A bunch of guys waiting for repairs when I got here. No rest. That's the best way to have it, man. Got to get you back in there. Space Coast. Anytime, sir. All righty. We get down to the bottom. Here we go. And there's Cam. No problem, bud. Get Cam and have him send up some of that salsa ASAP. By golly. And that took us to the very end. We went a little long, but it was fun. That's what we want, right? We want to be able to converse about golf, and let's send a few good thoughts over to Tubbsy across the pond, and make sure that he can talk to us next week when we do this. So again, guys, number one, and gals, number one, like and subscribe. Number two, the video is coming out at 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. All right, and we're going to be talking about the Super Hybrid. And again, I'm a fan. Number three, as always, let's see your scores. Go low.